Hello, my name's Dan Harmon and I'm with Hensley Feed Trailers. Today in this video we're going to demonstrate with the flow meter on the proper procedures of setting up pressure reliefs on your wet kits, and also to verify engine RPM with gallons per minute. The first thing we want to do is establish what RPM that your truck is going to need to run for proper GPM of the hydraulic pump. Usually if the truck has come from Hensley Fabricating, there's going to be a dash plaque marked here on the dash. As you can see here in my finger, we've got a PTO RPM tag. In this particular truck here, it's 1050 RPM. There'll be a couple ways that we'll set the pressure reliefs. We'll be doing so at the truck at an idle. It's a little easier to dial in the reliefs and also to listen for the relief hiss when it starts to open. Once we have the relief set, then we'd like to bring up the truck RPM that's been designated. If your particular truck is not designated what RPM to run it, you can also verify it with the flow meter. And also we can help you at Hensley Fabricating. We're just a phone call away. We can explain the procedures of trying to find out what RPM you're going to need to run your truck. So what we're going to do now, we're going to start the truck up. We're going to leave it idle, and we're going to go on the outside, and we'll start the procedures for pressure relief setting and gallon per minute verification. These wing couplers, it's important that the wing itself is seated go down on the male fitting. This black O-ring represents the depth of the wing coupler and it's seated properly. I'll demonstrate this now. Properly seated. Notice the bottom portion of the wing part of itself come against that O-ring and lined up. You always want to make sure that that's lined up. If not, the problem will come in further. It's not seating depth, and then your flow is going to be restricted. Have your connection set up on your quick connect plate. Go ahead, go into your truck, start it up, engage your PTO as you would normally, leave it at night. It's important when you're setting the pressure on your flow meter, if you have a pinch valve similar to what we have here, that you bring this up slowly. If you try to do this rapidly, it gives this false sense of pressure, it hammers the relief, and it won't give you a positive reading. Adjusting today is the relief valves on a particular Hensley wet kit. The relief valves are going to be located at the back of the deck plate. There'll be one for each pressure line. It'll be right to the bottom of it. Relief valves have a cap nut. This cap nut protects the threads and also the Allen head socket on the relief. When you adjust these reliefs, Counterclockwise decreases pressure, clockwise increases pressure. And now we're going to bring the relief up slowly. We need to bring that up to about 3,100. What we're doing here is you want to watch your needle and listen for the initial crack of the relief. And that crack is going to be the hissing sound. That's the relief reading that you want to watch. Okay, now I'm just starting to get a hiss. 3,050, here on the gauge. You start to hear that hiss, that's where you want your relief to set at. That's the crack opening. Once that's established in an idle, then we go into our truck and set the RPM up to the designated RPM and check our GPM. In the video, this particular unit needs to run 1,050 RPM for approximately 20 gallons per minute on the hydraulic pump. Have that RPM established, we'll go back down to our flow meter, verify our gallons per minute, which is GPM, and we'll also double check the pressure relief setting. I also want to mention too, this particular wet kit is set up for a smaller auger system, which is what we call a 9-12-9. That requires 20 gallons per minute in each section of the pump. Here we're under no load. Got 21.7 gallons per minute. This is under no load, as you can see the same pressure. I like to bring the pressure up. Okay, this is a tandem hydraulic pump, which simply means you have two pressure outlets. We've already checked one side of our pump, so now we've shut off the PTO and the truck. We're going to disconnect here, and we're going to check the other side of the pump, set the relief, check the GPM. It's just a repeat of the first series we done on the one side of the pump. Okay, once that you have your pressure line switched on your flow meter, which is what we just already done, we'll go ahead and start the truck, engage the PTO, and let it idle. Check the other side of the pump for relief setting and gallons per minute. Okay, same procedure as the first time around. We started the truck, we have the PTO engaged, letting the truck idle, and set our relief. Slowly pinch off your pressure line. Watch your needle. Listen for the audible hiss, and also the needle stop on the ground. Now we're about 2,500 psi, which is too low, so we've got to increase the pressure. Particular relief valve for this section. This is the section that we're checking right now. This is the relief valve. Remove the cap nut. Loosen the cam nut on the relief setting. Got to increase the pressure, so we go clockwise on the pressure. I usually like to go about a half a turn at a time. It's a good basic place to start at, that way you can bring it up slowly. Come back and watch your needle. Starts to crack, take a visual on your needle. Right now we're about 2,900 psi. We have to go a little bit more clockwise on the relief. Have your relief setting adjusted. Lock down the jam nut on the relief. Gentle pressure to lock it. Reinstall the cap nut. Okay, we have the relief verified. Now we're going to double check this side of the pump, proper gallonage per minute. Back into the truck, bring the RPM back up to where it was designated, and we'll check our gallons per minute. Okay, we have our RPM set. See that we have 21.7 gallons per minute. That's under no load. Again, we're going to put about a 25 2,500 psi load on it. Check our flow. Disconnect the flow meter. I'd also like to stress, while we've got a little time here and the truck is shut off and things are a little bit quieter, that the operation of our Hensley trailers, and this is especially true with the high output trailers, the 12, 15, 12 trailers, especially with what we call the ICAN hydraulic valve system, where everything is controlled automatically. It takes the manual operation out of the driver. Probably 90 to 95% of the troubleshooting calls that we get in is they'll say that the floor auger modulation is sporadic, the discharge plugs. Again, the problems we find is in the wet kit and not so much the trailer itself. Usually what we find in the wet kits is the relief valve itself. The settings are not adjusted properly, or if it's an older unit or a competitor's unit, it's possibly that the reliefs are just not set high enough. That's why it's important that you have a flow meter, or if you know a comparable, reputable hydraulic shop that has a flow meter, to where they can properly set the pressure reliefs. And again, I want to stress, when you adjust the reliefs, that you come up to it slowly and not just come up to it all of a sudden with a ball valve or some sort and shut the complete system off. This is not only dangerous for the operator, it's also dangerous for the pump. You can blow a hose. It's important that you ease up into the pressure and listen for that hissing sound of the relief. And that's an indication of the relief cracking. And that is a setting that you want to record. As you pinch the system off, you will see that it'll climb a little bit, and that is normal on a relief valve, as they don't open all at once. Furthermore, also, once your reliefs are checked, it's important to check the gallons per minute. A lot of times you'll get a weak pump. You'll get a false sense of security that the pump has been checked under no load. You'll get good flow, but when you start to bring the pressure up, the gallons per minute on the pump starts to nosedive, and that's what we tried to demonstrate here on our flow meter. By coming up to 2,000 to 2,500 psi, this gives us a normal operating pressure that the trailer would be operating, and to make sure that the pump is holding the gallons per minute and not slipping by. Hensley's and I would like to thank you for being with us today and watching this video. We hope it was informational and informing. If you have any other problems, have any questions or concerns, feel free to call Hensley Fabricating. We'd be happy to make recommendations and walk you through with any problems that you may be having. Again, this is Dan Harmon, and I thank you for your time.